Top of the morning to you, everybody. Just kidding, it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. But we are back with another 3S5 episode. And, oh, I stuck the landing. How graceful. Today we are going to do what I have been waiting to do for such a long time. Now, I have a game that I want to do next episode, but in order to do the game, I have to finish at least the exterior of my base to make this a little bit easier. So, obviously, 2 episodes ago, I put all the lakes in here, which took hours, and then in the previous episode, I put all the islands and the trees in, which took more hours, and now we're at the fun part, or what I'm hoping will be the fun part. Making the tram system. If you look down right where my portal is, you'll see a little outline that looks like a box, and another one over there, and another one over there. And there will be one up here, and there will be one over there. These are going to each connect with my different bridges here and meet in the middle, because we are building a railroad minecart system that is, again, it's more for the aesthetic, and it's more to make it more like what it actually appears like. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. In other words, I'm just going to have a minecart system that goes straight down to the bridge over there. And even though most people now have a Elytra and they can just fly in, and that's what they will do, this option is always here, especially for when they come through the nether portal. Lots of people come through the nether, so they can just hop on and go this way. Because if they come through the nether portal, they will not actually be able to fly out of here. That's the thing. They cannot actually fly out of here if they come through the nether portal. So I made these boxes, and these are just going to be little rooms. They might have some little stations in them, but instead of just telling you what they are going to be, I say we just go ahead and build them up right now. And I'm already out of blocks. That's embarrassing. Nothing fancy. Just a big old cube around each thing. Unique floors. Some cool, intricate details on the inside. And I'm going to try and do a little bit of redstone with the minecart system, because I will need a way that the minecarts will replenish themselves and work on both sides. I'm not quite sure how I want to do that yet, but how hard could it be? It's not like I've struggled with redstone before. Right? Right? This is what I've decided for the shell of the station. I decided to go with iron blocks because I have so much iron and I'm never going to use it. So I figured let's flex just a little bit and we'll do iron for the floors, for the room itself. Everything else is pretty straightforward. It's just a bunch of deep slate. And I have bricks as the ceiling, but they're slabs. That way at least the majority of the roof is spawn proof. I don't want a bunch of mobs spawning on top. Now, the actual system itself is going to be relatively small because you just need to be in a 1x1 minecart. Now, this does mean that I have to destroy some of the terrain that I built when I was making the islands, but that's okay because, remember, the Empire is very imposing. They're taking away all of your freedoms and everything, so it's very much going to just carve through the landscape, kind of like this. So, but it is also supposed to kind of like mesh with the surrounding landscape as well, so it's not going to completely ruin everything. It's actually going to tuck in rather nicely, or at least that's the goal. Every 10 blocks or so, I'm going to have some stairs here. So, kind of, no, not like that. Like that, sort of a thing. You know, let's see, I'm going to make the long tunnel that goes all the way to the end. And then we can kind of get a feel for the vibe that this tunnel's going to give us. But I'm also thinking about it. I'm going to need some more deep slate blocks because I feel like I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. Alright, I think I have the bulk of it done. It looks very uninspiring from up here, but that's okay. If you look at the sides, you know, we have that little accent that I was telling you about, adding those stairs, and I think that actually adds a good amount of texture. It still looks very imposing on the landscape, which, again, that was kind of what I was going for. You're not supposed to be here. I'm gonna just hit you off the edge. This is gonna be fun to watch. Or not. Alright, whatever. Ruin my fun. But down in here, you can see, this took a lot of resources. I went to an end city, got a bunch of end rods, and this basically just takes you all the way into this room. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this space yet, but I believe we have reached the point where we are ready to do the rails. Going all this way. Right? And every time we reach this accent part, ooh, that was too much, we're going to put a... Nope. Nope, I'm messing up left, right, and center here. We put a powered rail here. But before we put the powered rail there, we're going to put a redstone block, and then we're going to put the powered rail, which is going to make it fling us forwards. Yeah, so this is my plan. And I thought initially that I had gathered enough resources to do at least a couple of these tunnels. Turns out what I initially collected wasn't even enough for one. So, yeah. Eventually, when we do the time-lapse later, I'm going to have to do a lot of off-camera resource gathering because that took a while. Here's the issue. I'm not sure how I want to do the start and stop motion of this thing. I'm going to have to fiddle with the redstone a little bit later. But if I hop in, it takes a second to get us started. Don't worry, this will change. But then we're off. And it will just propel us forwards. We don't have to worry about pressing any buttons. I'm not pressing the W key at all. I'm just gliding forwards. And I want to develop a system so that this minecart will automatically brake when it reaches the end. And it will go into some sort of chamber thing that ends up turning into a dispenser in which you can pop one back down. And it will send you off once again. That way we have an equal amount on this side and on that side. Theoretically. That's pretty much one down. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a little time lapse of the second part, which is going to be, of course, to make the other tunnels. So, tunnels 2, 3, 4, and 5 in time lapse style. Here we go. I finished tracks 1, 3, and 5. Here's track number 1, track number 3, track number 5. They're not finalized in the naming thing. That's subject to change. But there you go. See that? Just a long straight line of deep slate on each side. And again, just to recite, to recap, I guess, the only one that's actually functional is this one. Because these other two, and eventually will be 4 more, don't actually serve a purpose, because the point is that if you were over here and you're traveling throughout the desert, you can go through here, but I don't actually have a door. Maybe I'll add a door, we'll see. But obviously there is none, because it's not necessarily meant to be accessible. The only one that's really meant to be accessible is this one right here, because the nether portal is at the end. Now comes the tricky part, because I have to do the diagonal ones. And I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go, because straight lines, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Diagonal, that's a different story. I don't even know how railroad tracks are going to work for that. I don't really know. Probably means I'm going to have to cover this up to some degree, so that's a shame. But I guess let's give it a go. Alright, so to start off, I think I do need to make a straight line. Diagonal is difficult, people. Diagonal is very difficult. Okay. So it's too wide, basically. That's okay. That's okay. So it's just going to be a straight line this way. Oh, look, it has to go right over this. Well, at least a tiny little bit will remain. I know Nathan will be really bummed to see that go, but, you know, it's for greatness, I suppose. I will say this base as a whole has hurt my brain a lot more than I think any other base has. I think the only other base that challenged me this much was last season, but understandably, because last season was also a little bit of a mathematical nightmare. But this season, I'm telling you, this is extensive. Look how I've massacred my boy. This beautiful lake. All for the aesthetic, I suppose. Alright, I've run into a little bit of a problem. Or maybe I haven't. This is way longer than the other three. So maybe what I should be doing is I should be counting out how long this truly is. Okay, new plan. I'm going to do it on this 80 block mark right here. We're going to do 80 blocks. Which means I have to fix all this, which is fine. The walls have been put up. And it doesn't look half bad, if I'm being honest with you. It's not terrible. Considering it's diagonal, I think it looks pretty good. But now it is time to put a roof on this bad boy. And then, come on, after we do that, we can get down to business. Didn't think this through. Hold on. So, yeah. It's slab time. Remember, the slabbed roof keeps mobs from spawning, which ultimately is the goal here. You don't want to visit this place and have a creeper just right above you, that as soon as you walk out the front door, it drops down and blows you up. I've had a history with that. Back at the main part. I've done it. I've finished the diagonal, or at least the first one. Maybe we should look at it from up here, because this is our great vantage point. Obviously, it's longer than all the others, but I think I made it work. I think that looks okay. And on the inside, it's basically the same. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I thought I swooped it at the last second. Yeah. Alright, well, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, all of this deep slate, it's nice that I didn't have to go out and gather it, because I got all of the deep slate that I've been using from digging this massive pit down here. And all of the sand that I was using for my islands, I got from excavating the desert. And it's just really nice that all of these things that were mostly aesthetic, I was able to actually do something with it for future stuff, future builds, like these tunnels and everything. And let me show you something with the diagonal tunnel. So it's gonna feel a little bit more weird when you travel through it, and here's why. So I'll fix the start, but obviously you have an incredibly slow start. Just me and the minecart. Slowly going. But eventually, when you hit the boost, then you're off to the races. The only problem is now, you know, this is happening with the minecart, which is kind of fun. It's not terrible, I guess. Now, ow. Flying down this one is a little bit more tricky. I just have to make one more diagonal. And I'm not going to time-lapse it. I'm not going to give you updates because I am really getting tired of doing this. It's taking forever to get this episode out. So I'm just going to build it and show you the result. Okay, and all 5 tram systems are done. Look at that. That looks really cool. There is one thing I should tell you about this tram system right here. This might make some people really upset. It kind of makes me really upset, but I was too lazy to do anything about it. This one and this one are not the same length. This one extends 89 blocks this way. I believe this one extends 88 blocks. It's a 1 block difference, and I didn't realize it till I built the structure. And I was too lazy to actually change it. Look, look, look. This bottom right-hand corner right here is at Z coordinate 728. Okay? Now if I fly to the corner of this one, remember the number, 728, right? 728. This corner is 729. 728 is right here. Don't tell anybody. Because I don't think anyone's going to notice. I think we're fine. Everything's okay. Everything's great. We're chilling. We're having a good time. But it is all finished. As you can see, the inside and everything. It is completed. How am I going to design this redstone? Because you know I'm horrible at redstone. If I get a minecart to slide down here and then it breaks and then it falls into a dispenser or some sort of system that will spit it back out, I don't want to deal with all that right now, and besides, no one's ever going to use this, really. So I thought of a much better idea, which is as simple as this. That's my system. That way, and I believe that this should work, that way when it reaches both ends, it will simply get sent back in the other direction. So this minecart will infinitely go back and forth. Look. Uh-oh. This was supposed to be easy. This was supposed to be simple. I was not expecting this to be a challenge. It should reach here and go back. And sure enough it is. And now it's going the other way, which means it should come over here. Just like that. Okay, so that will infinitely travel that way back and forth. That is the system that I have to put in place on the other 4. I think we're done. Look, 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 look. If you see over there in the distance, here it comes. Here comes the first minecart. That one's working. The same thing is true for that tunnel and that tunnel. These 2 zigzaggy ones, well, here, I'll just show you the problem. So, you can start it off, right? Off it goes, and then it slows down and doesn't quite reach the next one. And it just stops. So, I figured I would just leave both of them here at the edge in case I ever need to get down there. And I didn't show you this, but oh no. On each one, I actually decided to make it functional, and I added a door. And you're in. And this space probably won't change very much. The only thing that I added was this. I told you that I was going to dedicate each tunnel to a current member of the realm. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm giving them this space, although maybe I'll have them design each one based on how they would like to do it. Each one I dedicated to them just to be nice. So in each book, I have their name, their username, their actual name, followed by the season that they joined, and then I have like a little word of affirmation. Here we have Nathan, joined in Season 2. I said Nathan is the most technical and patient builder, and he is the bridge master of the realm. I think that goes without saying. He is really good at building bridges. But this one, there we go. This one over here, we have Liam, joined also in 3S2. I said Liam has the most detailed bases, which makes them come to life in awesome ways. That can really be highlighted in any of his seasons. I was going to say especially this season, but it definitely isn't the only detailed base he had. Now the main entrance point, this is where the nether portal is. This one is Josh. Josh also joined in 3S2. Said he's the most ambitious builder on the realm, and his castles are next level. Because he always tries to build the biggest thing that he possibly can, and at least from what I can tell, it seems like he succeeds every single time, but he's very ambitious because he tries to build something insanely awesome. In here we have Julia, joined 3S4. I said Julia is very creative and always eager to learn more about the game. She doesn't think that she's creative, but I'm telling you right now, she is. She definitely is. And I like that she likes to continue to try and learn more about Minecraft. If you haven't figured it out already, this last one is Seth. This is Seth's book. Alright, we're in safely. Seth's book, joined 3S5. I said Seth is a hardcore player capable of making the most challenging tasks seem easy. He's able to take something as insane as killing 2 wardens, and you think, wow, that must be impossible. And he does it, and you're like, wow, that seems really easy. Well, that's just because he's that good at the game. Seth is very, very good at the game, and since he doesn't have episodes that he has to record, he's able to get really challenging stuff done very early in the season. It definitely makes it look easy. I think it would be nice to have a little bit more detail, because we have this tower that's sitting here, and it's kind of lonely. I think we should have another 1 or 2 little things here and there. That they don't really have to serve much of a purpose, but, you know, just so it looks a little bit more, you know, settled. So helicopter pad. So if you're flying in, and you feel like just taking in the landscape and you'd rather not land on my skyscraper or coming through the back door, you could just be like, oh, there we go, this looks like a landing pad. Not really. Well, we'll just swoop in here. There we go, landing pad, and let's look around, sort of a deal. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you know what I'm saying. I really hope you know what I'm saying. I think that's gonna do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. This exterior of the base is done. I won't say 100% because there's probably little tiny details that I'll add, you know, maybe even in the tunnels and whatnot. But I'd say in terms of the bulk of the exterior, it is done. Dunzo. Complete. That's it. I did it. Woohoo! It's a good feeling. And I have to be honest, this looks exactly like how I envisioned it. But the base isn't over. We still have the interior, so we still have that to look forward to. Next episode, we're going to play a game. We're going to take a break from base building. We're going to play a game. Don't worry, it'll be fun. I think we're going to wrap up this episode by taking a little trip on our minecart here into the nether. So, thank you everyone so much for watching this episode. I hope you can hear me over the sound of this minecart, and I will see you next time.